Hey, this is Rob. 655 days until I turn 30. Let's get the update over with because it's not so great today. I did lose a little weight this update. 254.3 pounds, lost about six tenths of a pound. But my word count barely got anywhere. It was terrible. Tuesday's lack of work was justifiable for all the logistical life things that I was taking care of, but my inability to produce words on Wednesday was absolutely and completely my fault. And part of this transition into figuring out how to work for myself and write for myself is going to be figuring out how to work through those things and figuring out how to make up for those things. The escapism topic that I'm going to go on today is going to be kind of more related to video games, just because I realized that just saying escapism in general, I had bitten off more than I could probably chew. And regarding escapism and video games, I've been playing video games since I was like 5 years old, ever since I discovered the old NES video game system over at a neighbor's house and had to have one for myself. And I have played video games all my life, very consistently. There's never been an extended period where I took off it. And there have been times in my life where I threw myself at video games so full tilt to the point that it disabled other parts of my life. We're talking like weeks in which I played upwards of 40 to 50 hours of video games in a single week. Which, it basically involved me taking care of the bare minimum responsibilities in my life and then becoming an absolute hermit as a result. I fully understand why video games are such an appealing escape. Life, as it is in reality, is full of challenges that you will never be sure whether or not you can complete. And video games, on the other hand, are full of challenges that are designed by their very nature to be things that you're given the tools to complete. When you play a game like World of Warcraft, you are designed as a character to be able to go through the challenges in that, beat the monsters, take on the quests, so on and so forth. And if you can't do them yet, for the better part of the game at least, all you need to do is throw more time at it, raise your level, raise your gear, and then you'll be equipped to go through it more easily. And only in the very end of the game are the challenges, absolutely skill-based, that you can't just throw more time at things and outpace the content, so to speak. It can be super appealing to fixate on these things instead of fixating on real life, where there are things that you'll never be able to take on because you won't be equipped, and there are things that you might choose to try to take on that you're going to fail at, and that there might be consequences for failure. Let's create a video game in our heads for a moment. We'll just call it 30 puzzles. And in 30 puzzles, there are 30 discrete puzzles that you can take on in any order you choose. And at any time, you can choose to back out of your progress with a puzzle, and not like a jigsaw puzzle, but some sort of conundrum that you have to solve. And at any time when doing these puzzles, you can back out of one puzzle and go and play around with a different puzzle. Now, also, with this game, there's a note in the manual that says some percentage of these 30 puzzles are unsolvable. Now, provided you don't go to the internet and look up, answers on message boards and things like that, how would that piece of information change how you approach the game? When you think a problem is solvable, you can more easily throw yourself at it relentlessly because you know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You may be limited by your skill or your capacity at puzzle solving or your gear and stats that you need to raise depending on the game, but ultimately you know that these obstacles are designed to be beaten. In our 30 puzzles example, not necessarily the case. You could be throwing your effort at one of the puzzles that's unsolvable, thinking it to be solvable. And if you later discovered that was one of the unsolvable ones, that would sting. You'd feel like you'd wasted your time. You'd thrown all this effort into something that you couldn't fix. That's why game designers don't typically design games like that, except in experimental ways. To see what their effect is on people. So all throughout life, you're going to run into problems that you can kind of look at through that 30 puzzles framework. You're going to run into things that you know you can solve. You're going to run into things that you believe you can't solve, and you're going to run into things that you need to decide whether or not are worth continuing to try to solve. And how you answer that question and how much energy and time you're willing to throw at finding that answer out can have profound ramifications on how your life plays out. Right now, attempting to learn how to write, I've decided that me finding a way to make money writing is something that I think is solvable for me. And so ultimately, I'll have to see how it plays out. Hopefully, this YouTube show that I'm doing, continues to motivate me and keep me honest and keep me trying. So that's kind of the thing I guess I wanted to talk about today. If you enjoyed today's episode, like and share. Please feel free to talk down in the comments. And I think Monday's topic is potentially going to be something a little on the darker side of the spectrum, because I'm either probably going to talk about anxiety or meningitis, both of which are things that have affected me in my life at some point in time. So I guess if you have an opinion on which one of those you'd like to hear about, feel free to comment on that as well at the bottom. I'm tuckered out. I'm tired, so I'm going to close things up, edit this, get this out on the internet, and I'm probably just going to go to bed and try to face tomorrow more rested and more energized. So thanks for coming in and taking a look, watching. Take care, and I will see you Monday.